What is up, guys? It's Mel and welcome back to my channel. It's been a long time since I've did a video, but this is important if you're a streamer, that is. I thought I would just do this and get it out of the way, because I have missed a lot of opportunities to do news type stories, and I am working on bringing back my news show, but it's taken some time due to, conflicts with work schedule and things like that, so I can only do certain amounts of videos and things like that when I'll get some free time. So that is very few and far between right now. Anyway, so it was announced earlier in May that Twitch Studio was going to be shutting down and they were going to be discontinuing it, only because around 4% of it was pretty much getting used in terms of streaming data and things like that. And Twitch Studio, I've been using it since it was in the beta stage. I felt like it was a great jumping point for beginner streamers, and I actually did a tutorial on how to use it. It sucks that they've had to discontinuing it because this is the perfect launching pad for beginner streamers. It's very beginner friendly, it's easy to use, it's got everything you need at your fingertips. You can integrate stream elements to it, stuff like overlays and things like that, so it's very easy to use. It's got macros so you can instantly create clips and things like that, whereas with other, this is why I didn't use OBS. One of the reasons I stopped using it was because it wasn't really working on my computer, and with, you would need either a stream deck to create clips, or you would have to use the replay function on OBS, which kind of sucks. I would love it if they could just implement a click to clip feature. It would just make things so much easier. I don't like this sort of thing where it's, you have to activate a replay buffer and things like that just to get your clip, or you have to go back and watch the entire stream just to clip parts out. It pretty much negates the enjoyment out of streaming for me, just because, I want to be able to, capture that one moment instead of having to go back throughout the whole stream, which could be, say, maybe 6 to 7 hours, and then, I've got to waste all of that time fucking looking for clips. It doesn't work in the long run for me. So with OBS, Streamlabs OBS, things like that, you can either use a stream deck or you can just use the replay function, but I feel like that doesn't work at the best of times. So yeah. Anyway, so originally, before they announced that they were discontinuing this, I joined the Twitch Studio Discord server, and they were basically talking about how they were going to add all these new features, and I was talking about how they could make it easier by adding certain functions, and it's just now not happening. So I want to go over this article from Twitch itself. I mean, they're doing good by the streamers in the end, because they are going to be putting those resources into other features on Twitch, such as our mobile service, the discovery feed, stream together, improvement to clips, things like that. With the clips feed section on Twitch, it doesn't work for everybody, right? Everybody's jumping on the shorts bandwagon. Just because it works for platforms like YouTube and TikTok doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for Twitch. There's only so many ways that you can implement these things and different ways that you can make them work. But at the end of the day, you're just still doing the same thing, adding a clip that most of the time will get buried, because Twitch, YouTube, TikTok gaming and things like that, they're very oversaturated, as well as Kick. These platforms become oversaturated very, very quickly. I've been streaming for about 6 or 7 years, on and off, and let me tell you something, it took a lot of years just to become affiliate. You get very bogged down, because your channel is obviously starting off small. There's no guarantee that you will even meet the threshold of getting, like, say, so many viewers and, actually reaching the affiliate stage. I mean, fuck getting to partner. That is just a milestone that you may never reach. Again, just because people are more focused on the higher end streamers than people like yourself who are just starting out. You have to really put yourself out there in order to bring in an audience. And it took me a long time to get there. You have to get rid of being shy. You have to be talkative. You know, if you're going to put yourself on camera, that is. If you're just going to, you know, stream gameplay, obviously you don't need to talk. But if you're going to be sitting on Facecam with a microphone and everything else, investing in all of this equipment, and you're not going to use it, it's pretty much a waste of everybody's time. You know, people want that interaction. You know, they want to know how your day is going. They want to have a chat. You want to, you know, discuss your favorite games and, you know, all of that stuff. At least that's what I found in my experience with streaming. Um, so yeah, it's just one of those things. So we're going to go over this article and let's talk about it. So here we go. Recommended software for broadcasting. Now, this is what I was talking about. You know, Twitch is good in regards to this. They're actually helping you move on to something else. So it is worth looking into. I've already set up Streamlabs OBS. I don't know if I'll go back to streaming just because of how Streamlabs OBS works on my computer as well as OBS. They're not the best for my type of computer. Just because my computer's dated, I don't have the funds to buy new equipment, you know, things like that. So I am bogged in now because, you know, my money is going towards, you know, bills and other important stuff. So we will be discontinuing support for Twitch Studio after May 30th, 2024. We first launched Twitch Studio to help brand new streamers get started with streaming. However, since the launch, usage of Twitch Studio has remained fairly low, with less than 4% of total hours streamed coming from Twitch Studio users each month. And this is also because not a lot of people, I mean, even though you have a lot of streamers on Twitch, it's not to the degree that you would find on, say, YouTube or Kick, you know, so there's a lot more streamers on those platforms than on Twitch. Twitch has a very small amount of streamers compared to what you would find on YouTube, Kick, and now TikTok Gaming. Because with Streamlabs OBS and OBS, they've now implemented a feature where you can basically connect to your TikTok account, and if you have access to live streaming, you can basically game through that. So, yeah, Twitch is still lagging behind. I feel like they can do a lot more, but at least they are now starting to listen to the streamers, because there was a long time where they didn't, like when people were getting hate baited and things like that on the platform. Myself was one of those victims where I was getting told to kill myself, and, you know, just all of this hateful content, you know, where they were basically just slamming my page all the time, and I ended up just not streaming for a while, and nothing was being done about it, unfortunately, until enough people spoke out about it. So streamers are quickly switching over to other streaming software like OBS to take advantage of more advanced features. While we greatly appreciate our Twitch Studio streamers, and this is another thing, I know I keep sidetracking myself, but even though streamers are going towards more advanced features, there are still people like one of my friends. She wants to get into streaming, but she has got no idea where to start. So because she's a beginner, this would have been perfect for her to use. So for them to just discontinue it, they could have done it in a smaller degree, you know. I don't know, or just reinvent the Twitch Studio, because it took a few years for it to be in beta before it actually just became Twitch Studio. You know, there wasn't enough love for the product, and I feel like they could have done a shit ton more to actually implement, you know, good features, you know, better overlay systems, you know, things like that, because there was a lot of things that you couldn't do. I can't remember what it's called, but it's certain transitions, you know, and things like that. There's certain transitions that you couldn't use, whereas you can use it with OBS. So that was pretty much a fail for some people, and just a lot of other stuff. There's a lot of stuff that they could have done with Twitch Studio to make it a really great platform for, again, beginner streamers, even advanced streamers. If they want to go back to simplicity, this would have been perfect for them, especially if you're solely streaming on Twitch. You know, it would have been perfect. So, while we greatly appreciate our Twitch Studio streamers, we've made a difficult decision to discontinue support to allow us to redirect our resources into areas that can better serve our wider community, like continued improvement to clips, investments in mobile, stream together, the discovery feed, and more. To help you transfer over to another broadcasting software and continue connecting with your Twitch community beyond May 30, 2024, we put together a quick guide on recommended broadcasting software options below. Now, there are a lot more options these days, not just OBS and Streamlabs OBS. So we're going to have a look down below and pretty much talk about it. So to begin broadcasting on Twitch, you will need to decide on what broadcasting application you want to use, software and service and tools. I did an in-depth tutorial a few years ago on how to use Twitch Studio Beta and how to set it up and how to implement things like Streamlabs, Stream Elements, overlays, different features, alerts, things like that. But because they're discontinuing Twitch Studio, I'm going to do an in-depth tutorial on how to set up Streamlabs OBS and OBS. It's pretty much the same thing. Although I think Streamlabs OBS is a little bit more simplistic. So that is pretty much, I'll do a beginner-friendly tutorial for setting up Streamlabs OBS, and then I'll probably go into a more advanced version, but I do need, more equipment because we're talking about setting up macros and things like that, so it does get very intensive, especially if you don't know what you're doing, if you've never streamed before. So, yeah. So below we have listed some common choices and other broadcasters use and recommended for newer broadcasters. Each has its own benefits, so we would recommend doing research and making your decision based on what you need. I would also like to put it forward to check other tutorials, look at other YouTubers and how they use their systems. There's not a lot of YouTubers that actually do tutorials on how to use this software, so definitely look at forums, Discord servers, anything you can find, X, Facebook, anywhere where you can get this kind of support. Just go for it and see what can happen. So you've got OBS. It's available on Windows, Macs, and Ubuntu, whatever the hell that is, and it is free. With OBS, it's been around for a lot of years, but I feel like it definitely falls behind on a lot of stuff, especially for me. Even though I've been streaming for around 7 years, it's still, I don't know, it's just a weird platform to use. It feels very medieval to me. It doesn't really feel modern. So even with the overlays implementation, it doesn't feel modern to me. Streamlabs, however, does, but there's just a lot of features that you've got to add just to make it feel like it's, I don't know, easy to use. With Streamlabs OBS, you've got it on Windows and Mac, and again, it's free. Or you can get Xsplit. Xsplit I used back when, I can't remember what that other platform was. It was, I can't remember. I'll leave it in the description so you guys can maybe look it up, but it was around for a good couple of years. It had a high streamer use and all of that stuff, and then you've got free and paid, and it's only available on Windows for XSplit. I would definitely focus on, especially if you're a Mac user, go for Streamlabs Desktop, obviously, or OBS. You've got vMix, which I've never used. That's a product software, as well as Elgato Game Capture. Elgato Game Capture, if you've got an Elgato Game Capture device, it's pretty simple to use their software, but I feel like it does crash a lot, at least in my experience from when I first got it back in 2019, 2020. So I've had my Elgato HD60S for a long time, and it has crashed a lot of times using their software. So I would maybe gear away from Elgato game capture software and just use the game capture card, but not the software, the game capture software. Focus on things like Streamlabs and OBS and things like that. Then you've got Evermedia. Again, you can get a game capture device that will come with its own built-in software, so you can record gameplay or stream it. And then you've got Lightstream. I've never used it. Excuse me. So it's basically going over transitioning from Twitch Studio and how to set up scene setups. Again, I'm off on Wednesday and Thursday, so I will try my hardest to film an in-depth tutorial for you guys on how to set up Streamlabs OBS. I'd rather use Streamlabs OBS for the setup. I feel like people would be comfortable for that, especially for beginner streamers. Again, there's two versions of it. You can have the advanced version or the beginner version. If you just want a simplistic setup, then I'll do that. But if you're going advanced, you're talking about implementing Stream Deck features, macros, the whole bit. So it does get very intensive. So setting up like things like Twitch alerts and things like that, that's pretty much standard stuff. And then you've got, TWIP, Muxy, adding things like Twitch music, which is free to use, so that you're not getting copyrighted and having your stream taken down or muted entirely, which fucking sucks. And then having things like chat displays and, things like that. These are very simple things to implement, but again, if you've never streamed before and you've never used this type of software, it can get you can get a massive case of anxiety through it, just because, you want to just launch yourself into this and it doesn't work. So yeah, that's pretty much what they've done in terms of Twitch Studio and how to transition over for it. It is, again, a shame, because this is pretty much the perfect launching pad to start streaming with, especially if you're solely going to be streaming on Twitch. Other softwares are very intensive to use, especially if you've never used them, because you're talking about adding a lot of scenes and a lot of setups and a lot of implementations, and then you've got your overlay setups, and you're trying to figure out where you put your chat display and things like that. And again, if you're implementing Stream Deck, you're talking about macros, so implementing a button just to clip. Again, I hate OBS for the fact that they don't have a simple clip feature, which is what I loved about Twitch Studio, because it has an integrated clip feature. So you would just click the button, it was clipped, and it was automatically uploaded to your channel. Whereas with OBS, you've got to create a replay buffer, and you've got to do all of this stuff, and you don't know if it's going to actually take or clip that section of your game, or if it's even going to upload it to your channel. So I would definitely see about maybe, buying a Stream Deck, get the cheapest version, which is the smallest one. I think it comes with maybe 9 buttons or 6, and then you can just implement your macros to it. It is very simple to use. I also know that you can get a free version on your phone, and just implement it. Although I've never tried it with OBS. I have tried it with Twitch Studio though, and it worked just fine. I was able to clip, and I think that was before they added the clip feature. But yeah, it's a real shame that they've decided to discontinue it. But again, if there's only 4% of total hours streamed from Twitch Studio, then there is a massive problem. And I'd say that it's down to the actual team of Twitch, because they didn't put enough effort into Twitch Studio. Again, it's a great launching platform, and yet not enough was done for it. So yeah. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry about the is and all of that stuff, but I do ramble on quite a bit. I never know when to shut up. So I'm going to go there now, and I'm off on Wednesday and Thursday, so I will be doing testing a couple of live streams using Streamlabs, and then I'll do an in-depth tutorial for you guys, just because if you are looking for my Twitch Studio tutorial on my YouTube channel and you're like, where the fuck is the software, you're not going to be able to use it because they've discontinued it as of yesterday, or a few days ago. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. Please take care of yourselves and stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Oh, I forgot to say, once I've got some free time, I will be continuing my reactions for Mortal Kombat Legacy. I've still to finish the first season, and there's a few other free series that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to start reacting to anime as well. My hubby introduced me to Attack on Titan. So even though I've seen a few episodes now, I might want to go back and rewatch them just for a commentarial purpose, just do commentary and stuff and how I felt about watching the episode and things like that. You might like it, you might not, but testing out going to be testing out new stuff for my channel to see what hits and what doesn't. But yeah, so take care of yourselves and stay safe. Bye.